Now there's a noise.
This is our second class meeting with myself and Yassir and exploring in our respective Sufi and Zen traditions what is a good life. But we were just working on song. Yassir, we were talking last week about how the gimbri, which he was playing last week, was like a banjo.
Yeah.
And this week, it's a banjo. It's not a gimbri.
No.
So, would you like to play what you're playing? It's great. I want you to say a little about what it is.
Usually, if I start speaking and explaining, it takes too much time.
So just be brief.
We call this banjo, we call it snitra.
Smita?
Snitra. Usually it's a drum, a round drum like this, and they stick like a broomstick to it, and they put the strings and makes that high sound. It's similar to the banjo. سينما دوران عليها الزون مولانا صارت الغريبة يعلم مرابين الكلام ممنون ورد الراشية جديدة سينما دوران عليها المخزون والله لا بغينا الطبلة حجارة صارت تكلم لي والله لا بغي يصدقنا كل عبد في صمايلي والله لا بغي الطبلة كل حجارة صارت تكلم لي والله لا بغي يصدقنا كل عبد في صمايلي
What were the words? What was that about?
This is this month. We are in what month? This
September.
September.
Just barely.
We follow the lunar calendar because the moon keep changing. It's you can see it changing. Therefore, we can read the days. Well, the sun is always the same. So we follow the moon, and this month is the third month out of 12. This third month is called Rabi' al-Awwal, first spring. Is the month where the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was born. And today in Morocco they're celebrating the birth of Prophet Muhammad. Not just in Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, Jordan, Turkey, Pakistan. Everybody's celebrating the birth of the Prophet. And so I sent a song about the Prophet because it was the right thing to do. Today is here in America, the calendar is the 13th of first spring, Rabi al-Awwal, 13th. But in Morocco, they're the 13th there today. Yesterday was the celebration of the birthday of the Prophet here in North America. It was yesterday, Wednesday, which is the 12th. The 12th is the day they celebrate every year, the celebration of the Prophet's birth. The Prophet loved his birthday. He was born on a Monday, so he used to fast every Monday. So they said, why you fast every Monday? He said, that's the day I was born. So he celebrated his own day by fasting. They usually fast from first light to sunset. That's the kind of pattern of fasting. So this song was about the Prophet, praising the Prophet, and also saying that Allah has the power to change in a blink of an eye. He can make someone who's really poor, for a blink of an eye, change to be very rich. Like the possibilities. This is land of possibilities. So Allah has a lot of possibilities. And He said also, He can make a rock to speak back to you. In that song, they praise the Prophet and Allah at the same time. That's the whole nutshell of the song.
You know, in the Zen tradition, there's a saying that all beings preach the Dharma, including rocks, trees, oceans, that they are all speaking. And we may not be able to hear them,
Yes,
but they're all speaking.
that's right. Yes, that's mentioned in the Quran. It said everything does dhikr. Dhikr is repetition, because the whole universe has a pattern of repetition.
Right.
Like the hair on our head is one hair repeating itself, or walking is one step repeating itself, or blinking is one blink repeating itself, and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
So they say every creation has their own repetition. but we cannot hear it, and we cannot understand it, but they do. They do. And that we call zikr. So when we join in a circle and we're making dhikr of just Allah, 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 we're not doing something new. We're just joining what's going on already. That's
Right.
same.
Yes, it's very similar.
Yeah.
One of the Zen stories, the student asked the teacher about all things preaching the Dharma,
Yes.
and he asked the teacher, "So can you hear it?" And the teacher says, "No." And he said, "Well, why not?" He said, "If I could hear it, then you wouldn't be able to hear me." So we have to listen for it,
Yeah.
even though we may not be able to hear it.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, I have some questions, but I'm wondering if there are any questions left over from last week that any of you have been carrying around.
Last week, I think.
Remember last week?
Yeah, last week was not good for me. I apologize because sometimes in my English people may misunderstand me. Sometimes. And so I have my guardrails.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes
What do you mean by guardrails?
my wife is my says, "You
Yeah, I have one of those.
shouldn't say that. That was not good." And stuff like that. So that's why I'm trying to be more careful, because we have to speak according to the level. And if you speak to another level, some other people say, "What are you talking about?" And I don't want to be in that place. So if I said something last week that was upsetting, it's not my character. I didn't mean to do that. So that's why if you ask me questions, sometimes I might not answer what you're asking because I might understand it differently. Yes, I was reading something from Rumi, and Jalaluddin Rumi, by this American guy who translated his work.
Coleman Barks?
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
So he has one that's really good for this project, these things about what makes a good life. And Rumi, he put it like that. He said, human beings should think like you are a guest house. You are a guest house. I don't know if you read this one about guest house. And he said you should welcome anybody who comes because they are your guests. And those who come, they could be a depression, joy, meanness, anything. You should embrace them all because that's who you are, a guest. And then you should embrace them and allow them. Don't fight them or something. They are your guests. I thought that was something you have in.
We have, in Zen, there's a formulation of a set of teachings about guest and host and guest.
Yeah.
And the way it unfolds is like, sometimes you're the host, and sometimes you're the guest. And it's very important to be able to take either role. In a certain circumstance, instead of being the host, you're the guest.
Yeah.
In the same way, sometimes you were the teacher, and sometimes you were the student. And I think what we learn to be is flexible so that we're not caught in one position. We're not fixed in that one position. So sometimes when I'm around you, I'm a student. And now I'm speaking and you're listening.
Yes.
So we're switching, we're trading these roles back and forth very freely.
Yes. Yes. And that's written in the Quran, this is what you're saying. A lot of times when I ask a lot of Americans, they say, you know about the Quran, did you read the Quran? No. So they don't know what's in there. But what's in there, it says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وتعاونوا على البر والتقوى ولا تعاونوا على الإثم والعدوان. It said, help each other. This is like the host and the guest. Sometimes the host has more knowledge than the guest, then the guest should take from the one that has more. And the one has more should give to the one that has less. That's the exchange there should be all the time. And help each other. It talks about a group. It doesn't say by yourself you can reach somewhere, but you will always find someone that knows more and you can take from them. And they also know that you need and they can give you. So give and take is the pattern that is encouraged for us to be.
Yeah. One time when we were having some challenges in our community, Lori said, she's my teacher, Lori's my teacher, one of my teachers. She said, well, where my teacher is ahead of me, I will follow. And where my teacher is not ahead of me, I will lead. This is difficult because it calls you to be flexible in your relationships with each other, which are usually fall into a certain pattern. You know, the teacher usually feels like the teacher, but it's good for the teacher to be the student, and it's good for the student to be the teacher.
Well, when you talk about a relationship, it's the perfect relationship. They give it an image. They used to be knives, and people didn't know about scissors. So they created, to put the two knives together, they become one. And then, if the man and the woman are one, the couple, they are one, then they point toward what they're going to cut in life. High life, sickness, old age, or something, they're always together to cut. But they used to be separate. And then once they become together, then it's expected for them to go through life. That's what makes a good life. They're cutting through problems and to high life, low life, they're cutting. And the point of the scissor is also pointed out there. If the scissor breaks and then the sharp points are pointing at each other, we call the sharp point the tongue. And then the tongue, with one word, you can never miss. You can always hit and reach your target with the sharp tongue. You can reach the heart of the other person and hurt them with one word.
Yeah, you can't take it back.
No, once it comes out.
Right. It's like, once it hits its target, there's a wound or there's a scar.
Yes.
So we have to, so this is in the Jewish tradition,
Yeah.
there's the expression, guard your tongue.
Yes. Yes. We have two things to guard in the Muslim tradition by the Prophet. He said, if you guard two things, I promise you paradise. One of them is the tongue. What's the other one?
Your eyes.
Or something that is in your body.
Your heart.
Huh?
Heart.
Heart.
No, heart is okay. It's something else. He said, watch your tongue, or he said, watch what's between your lips, your tongue, and he said, and watch what's between your legs. He said that. If you watch these two things, you'll be fine.
I mean, a lot of people get in trouble from either or both.
Yes, you have some people that are good with everything, but they have a weakness there, and that everything they do, if they fall in that place, they become. My son had this dog, was good with everything, except he had this problem. What does he do?
He humped every other dog he saw.
Doesn't matter if it's a male or a female dog, only thinking about humping. That's it. He passed now, but I can see that. And that can be, in human beings, they can be attached to this sickness. And that's why they say, wash these two things.
Is there a celibate tradition in Islam?
They don't encourage it. It's called to be a monk and not to deal with the world,
Is there,
and not to have family. It's not encouraged.
but there's no order or anything? There are no orders or sects?
There are.
There are.
There are some ones that are absorbed with the divine presence. They cannot deal with the regular life at all. There are. It's not the bulk. It's the particular. These are the elite in the illumination. They're in that level. There was one elite illuminated man, famous in Tanta. Tanta is a place in Egypt. There's a great saint, his name is Ahmed al-Badawi. He never married, never was thinking about having kids or nothing. This Ahmed al-Badawi, he used to live on the roofs of people. They call him the roof guy. And then he used to cover his eyes. He was like almost 7 foot tall. He was born in Fez. Then he moved to Mecca. From Mecca, he moved to Tanta. There, his eyes had so much light. If people want to see him, if you look at them, they can faint and fall. And then the scholars from Egypt in the big school called the Azhar. Azhar is where they check every new things, whether it's halal or haram, permissible. They heard about Ahmed Badawi, but they heard he never goes to Friday prayers, which is obligatory for men to go at noon and pray the Friday prayers, because Friday is a holiday. And that's why here they make it holy by saying TGIF. They don't say it about any day, except Friday. So
But that means,
thank God it's Friday.
right, that means the week is over, we're happy.
We're happy.
They're not really thanking God.
Yeah, well, for us it's like that. They said this guy we never seen him on Friday. Plus you can see him, he's like 7 foot tall. He doesn't come on Friday. So they sent these scholars to him to what do you call this? Scold him and said, you're a bad example. You have all these people following you and making zikr and everything, and then the fard, which is obligatory to be, you're not there. You are false and fake teacher. So the guy was telling him this, and then Badawi, he pushed this guy like that, pushed him like that. The guy fell back. He fell back in an island. He looked around. Where am I? An island. He doesn't recognize anything in that island. He was walking on the shore. He found his fishermen. Where am I? He told him, you are in this island, far away from Cairo. How did I get here? Then he starts regretting, I should not put this man down. I should not have that. Then the fisherman said, if you want to get out of here and everything, go to that mosque. There is an imam there who leads Friday prayer. He went there. Who's leading the Friday prayer? That one. Ahmed Badawi was there. Then he came and said, you see what I do Friday? I do it here because I have these people to deal with. Then he pushed him back. He came back to that place. He said, no, I believe you are a wali, or saint of Allah. And that one, he never married or has children, but he used to communicate with the jinns. They're made from smokeless fire. They have big beads, like 1,000 of them. You can still see them in the mosque where he's buried. And each bead, he has a name of a jinn that he used to. So he used to say words that are not in Arabic or anything. Different, totally different.
The names of the jinns.
Jinns, yeah, each one. 1,000 beads, big ones. And he used to be on the roof. When people come to greet him, he will put those beads down and they shake the beads, say, Assalamu alaikum, how are you doing? What's wrong with you? My son is being caught by the French. The French at the time, they wanted to colonize Egypt. My son is there in jail. And then he will say, go home, you'll find your son. And then they go there and there is his son. Still, the son with still the metal they were holding. And they have those metals.
They have them.
Have them to show how he freed a lot of them. They asked him, how did you get free? He said, I don't know, I was in jail. Somebody came and took me from there to here. Speed, because they shrink time and space. That was the level of Ahmed al-Badawi. He was one of the great saints. Every year they have they call it Rosh, means his wedding day. Wedding day for these people is the day they pass. Wedding means I'm going to be with the one. So that's the greatest day. My death is my wedding day. Also Jalaluddin Rumi, same thing. His death is his wedding day. They call it wedding day, those people. Jalaluddin Rumi, he wrote so much, but when I came here, I mean, Jalaluddin Rumi, he was a jurist. You know the rules and regulations and everything. And then he was also not just sitting doing zikr, he was defending the place where he lived. He used to go with his best horse, he checked the best horse because he had horses. So which one is the best? He would ride on it and go all the way to the borders to stop and fight the Mongol of his time. It was not like sleeping and just doing zikr. He's a mover. But here in the West, they made sure to strip out his Islam. So don't say he's Muslim. They don't want to hear that. Because people sometimes they have allergy. If you say Islam, they start scratching. They have allergy with that. If you even say Allah, they scratch. They have allergy.
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 Yeah, allergy.
Allah.
Allah.
Yeah.
G. Anyway, so
My mind is going in two directions.
okay.
One is a Zen story, which is totally the other side.
Yes.
It's an older story from China, where a woman was supporting a celibate monk for many years, and she built a hut for him and brought him food every day. And he would just meditate silently and was a holy man. And one day, she began to wonder, what's really going on here? Is there something, I need to test it. So she sent her young daughter her beautiful daughter into the hut, and she took off her clothes and took paraded in front of the monk, and then left. And the old woman goes to the monk and says, "What about that?" And he said something like, "The withered tree grows on the rocky peak." And with that, she burned down the hut and kicked him out. Because to be devoid of feelings, of human feelings, is not the objective of, it wasn't the vision of complete awakening that she understood. Do you follow the story?
Sort of.
Yeah. Basically, it's, if you have a passionless person, then they have nothing to work with. If he has no passions, then he has nothing, he has no work to do. And if he's not responding to this beautiful young girl, there's something not alive in him.
Yeah.
So this is very much the complexity of the Zen tradition, where you have both sides. You know, you want to be free not free from your desires in a sense, but free in your desires, and yet not yield to them. Still, you know, guarding your tongue, guarding what's between your legs, but not pretending that there's nothing that comes up in your mind or in your body that is going to affect you. So it's a different thrust to that story. So you were talking about the couple of directions. One, you were talking about the scissors. So I think that there's certainly questions that people have about the role of women, relationships between men and women, in what they hear of Islam, or what they see in the media, which to me there's all kinds of Islam, and there's also patriarchy in virtually every religion that we could think of, including Buddhism. You know, it's a lot of it is in the culture that these religions emerged from. But I wonder if you have something that you could share with us about how you feel men and women are in your vision of Islam.
You know, the Prophet, peace be upon him, peace be upon all of them. A man came to him and asked him, "Give me advice." He looked at him, he said, "Take care of your mother." He said, "Okay, give me another advice." He again said, "Take care of your mother." He said again, "Give me another advice." He said, "Take care of your mother," 3 times. Then he said, "Give me another advice." He said, "Then take care of your father." And this in the Muslim world, they take it at heart that the mother is sick. It's called Ummah, means nation. It's from mother. Ummah. So that women is sacred. So the sacredness of a lady is described in the Holy Quran, that has, you know how many chapters are in the Quran? There are 114 chapters. There is one chapter that is named after Miriam.
Miriam.
Miriam. And Miriam is mentioned in the Quran 38 times.
Miriam is in the Old Testament also, right?
Yes, the mother of Isa, what you call Jesus, alayhi salam. That is the symbol of sacredness for the Muslim world. That's why she has a whole chapter with her name. And no other ladies are mentioned by name except her. The whole Quran, you find ladies that she did this or she, even Sarah is not mentioned by name, the Abraham's wife, not mentioned by name. Except Miriam. Even her mother is not mentioned by name, except Miriam. So the Quran gives you that symbol. Now if you imagine in your head Mary, you can see her attire, you see the sacredness. You're never going to see her without covering. She covers. So the Muslim world, they like to cover the same way, what we call hijab. To cover because ladies are sacred. Okay, good turn.
So there's the Quran and there's the world.
Yes. And both of them are the Quran.
Mm-hmm.
There are two. There's the written Quran, and there is the Quran. Everything that you see is written. So there is the writing Quran and the creation Quran, because we have two. So those who don't know the Quran may know the creation, and whatever they see, they find it mentioned in the Quran. And those who study just the Quran, they can see in nature, oh, the Quran said about that. There's a connection. And that's mentioned in the Quran itself. One is the Kitab al-Mastur, the words that are written. And the other one is وَاللَّوْحِ الْمَحْفُوظ. And the lawh is this nature that we are living in it. So they go hand in hand.
But even if the only woman mentioned in the Quran is Miriam,
Yes.
in this world, half the world is women.
Okay.
What's your instruction? What's the instruction that you're given about how women and men share the world?
It's not to pluck out the sacredness of women, and mostly mothers. They are sacred for the Muslim men. In Islam, women are sacred. They are not to be dealt with as a tool for commercial, to attract people, and to use women because they need money, to use them like that. That is not what Islam likes. That's the goal.
Yeah.
The goal is sacredness. If the lady thinks herself sacred, by herself she will move in a holistic way by themselves. If they don't know this information, they can be lured for money or for fame or for whatever it is that We use the word like that. And that's because we have free will and choice. That sacredness is part of Islam, that they want you to look at every woman as a sacred woman. And therefore it tells, oh man, lower your gaze. And then after that, oh women, lower your gaze. Because when we say a thief or a robber, there's also the rubber for the tires.
For the what?
Tires.
Tiles?
No,
Tires.
he's confusing robber and rubber.
Oh, rubber.
Yeah. Which one is the thief?
The robber.
Rubber. I don't make any difference between rubber and the rubber. They're all the same.
And what do you put on your car?
This English is crazy. Air.
You put a,
Air in the rubber. And Arabic is so rich. For example, lion. How many words you have to describe lion? How many are there? Lion. One. In Arabic,
lightness.
lioness. In Arabic, lion has 10 words. 10 to say lion.
Well, that's because, there weren't a lot of lions in England. There are probably more lions.
In the whole Arabic, there is many, many names for this, for one thing.
Yeah.
Many names. Where are we saying that? We were going somewhere. I will see you in a moment.
What I was thinking, there's an evolution of the Buddhist tradition, which is troubling and complicated. You talk about women being sacred.
Yes.
In the early Buddhist tradition, in order to become a Buddha, in order to become awakened, you had to have a male body. Women were not initially seen. And then at a certain point, the Buddha made some pronouncements we don't know actually what happened, but the way that that women were seen began to shift as the culture shifted, I think. But there's also a long tradition, even in the Japanese Buddhist tradition, of women as unclean, as perhaps the opposite of sacred, and there's an internal dynamic and struggle about that, which is not particularly relevant in our modern terms, but we're still working with it. We're still working with the transformation of our communities and with the development of women as religious leaders.
Therefore, I was saying about a robber or a thief. Usually when you think about a thief or a robber, what part of their body they use to steal? Their hand. And we think that's it. But there's another way of stealing, is stealing with the eyes. And these ones, stealing with the eyes is very, very subtle. And that the Quran mentions it to say Allah is aware when you steal with your eyes. And therefore they say you should lower your gaze.
Mm-hmm. To lower your gaze for the man that is past 40, they tell you walk with a stick, not because you need stick for your legs or knees. The stick to keep looking where your eyes go, where you step. And then the Prophet, the most what he looked at when he walks is his feet. And he avoids stealing with his eyes. Who?
the form of ladies. So if a lady is coming like this, and a man is going like that, it's fine. Hi, good morning, good afternoon. The woman keeps on walking, but the man turns to steal with his eyes the form of the lady. That is a sin. And if you keep on stealing and stealing and stealing, it gathers dark dots around the heart. But you're not aware of it because it became, yes, it's our right to
It
look
becomes a habit.
habit, and then now they can even invade you in your own house. If you say to someone in your house, somebody knock and you open and you find a naked lady, can you invite her in? You say no. But then they come in to the TV, they come in there, and then you sit down and you start stealing with your eyes. And Allah said in the Quran, وَيَعْلَمُ خَائِنَةَ الْأَعْيُنِ. He knows kha'in. Kha'in means you are a thief with your eyes, thinking that nobody can know that. That's the false inside of you. You think nobody is aware of this. Therefore, they say lower your gaze, because Allah is aware. So most of what the Prophet looked when he walked is his feet. To avoid this, and women too, he said lower your gaze too. But it's more dangerous for the men because their eyes, they like to steal. How to change that? You have to look at women as sacred. Then you don't look at them with the eyes of desire. You don't know who their intelligence, their soul, no, you don't care about that. You only look at the materialistic and the desire and pleasure. You could fall in that trap.
Well, desire is, seen as the primary source of suffering in Buddhism.
Yes. It's the same.
To say the Four Noble Truths, to say life is marked by suffering, what's the cause of suffering? The cause of suffering is attachment, desire,
Yes.
reactivity, but all of these things are part of the same mental formations.
Yes. It's the same.
And they have there's a very evolved notion of what we call karma.
Yeah.
Karma is volitional action that is the manifestation of mind, speech, and body. So it's not just what you do or what you say, it's also what you think, which is exactly what you take in through your senses, right?
Yes.
You take in through your eyes, through your nose and ears, and touch. And those are potentially, they have a potential effect on how you live. What happens, what's the causes that, what's the effect that flows from those causes? Want to open up questions, thoughts? Please. Must be something on your face. Yeah, Mark.
I don't really know exactly what my question is, but in the beginning of the talk, you were talking about how all objects expound the Dharma, or the sacredness of all aspects of reality. And then when you're talking about these kind of gender dynamics, there was this way in which I think part of my question is, what is the special sacredness of women that is distinct from just the inherent sacredness of everything? Is that different?
So let me repeat the question as I hear it, so you could hear it online. Mark was asking, what is the special or particular sacredness of women as possibly distinct from the sacredness of everything. Is that correct? Do you understand the question?
No.
Um,
Can you make it simple?
yes. Is a woman more sacred than a rock?
Yes. Of course. So
Is that,
Sure.
there is something that is connected with the, when we say Bismillah, in the name of Allah, and then we say Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. Ar-Rahman, most merciful, comes from this word Ar-Rahm. Ar-Rahm is the womb. Womb. That is the sacredness of ladies because of the womb. For all of us, when we do a ceremony for marriage, it said, be aware of the wombs. Because we want to introduce that to people of different belief. Even if somebody is atheist, they cannot say, I came from a tree, I didn't come from a womb. He said, no, we all came from a womb. The womb is the special of ladies. That's what makes them really sacred, is the womb. And the womb, from the womb, Allah created the word Rahman. And the womb is Rahm. Rahm. Rahm is mercy, Rahman, because Allah took care of us when we were in the womb, without the mother getting her hand in there to feed the baby or something. No, something else is taking care in that place, sacred place called the womb. And that's what the Quran says about the ladies. And also, there's 114 chapters in the Quran. One chapter was for Miriam, the only woman mentioned by name 38 times. Another chapter is called An-Nisa, women, whole chapter for women only. Have you read the Quran before?
I read parts of it, but not the whole thing.
Yes.
In a class at a divinity school.
You can zoom on the chapter called Women, and there Allah speaks on behalf of women. And He said, if you ask me about women, let me tell you. Allah speaks like that. So that's the sacredness. That's what makes them, their value is different. And we have to be respectful of the womb that we came from and other ones who have the womb. Doesn't matter. That's special.
on our altar here,
Yeah.
we have the Buddha,
Yes.
and then that figure beneath the Buddha,
Uh-huh.
that is, the figure is called Prajnaparamita, who is also one of the epithets for that is, Prajnaparamita is the mother of the Buddha. And you can see it's a very feminine figure. And so it's also representative of, and we also talk about the womb. So we have various ways of expressing the totality of the universe. And one of the ways that that's expressed is as Tathagata Garbha, which means the womb of the Tathagata. So when we talk about the universe, the universe is that from which everything emerges. And that's characterized as, that's a womb, from which life emerges mysteriously. It's complete mystery. And how you were talking about how, a child is growing within the mother, and yet the whole body, without any instruction, without any, without our doing anything, the body is nourishing the child to the moment at which it comes forth. This is beyond our understanding. completely beyond our understanding. Maybe only the Buddhas and Allah can understand it.
Yes.
Other questions? Yeah, Khadija.
What does Buddhism say about abortion?
That's a really interesting question. I don't know that it says anything in particular. I think it becomes this comes back to one of the places that I wanted to go, which was to talk about the law and discipline in our respective traditions. The law, the rules that were established were rules for celibate monks. And then by extension for celibate nuns. So the celibacy is a given, right? And so abortion doesn't make it onto the list. So we have to, each of us has to struggle with what our understanding is of that act. And we bring here we would bring a modern sensibility to the questions, which means we might think on either side of that, right? In ethical terms or moral terms. But there's really, that I can recall, and maybe if someone knows differently, you can contradict me. I can't recall any direct instruction about that. What does Islam say? What does Islam say about abortion?
The choice is the mother to start with. Nobody can interfere with that. And then what the Prophet said about the womb, said at the beginning the sperm comes with the egg, and they have a play, and he said it for 40 days they with each other like this. Another 40 days they hang. They become like a hanging. You heard that before? You agree, like you read it
No, I
before.
have heard it before.
You heard this before? Another 40 days, so 3 40s. How much is that?
That's 4 months.
4 months.
Yeah.
After 4 months, they say the heart, the soul comes in. When the soul comes in, at that time, there is a soul. Before that, it's only the house where the soul is going to come.
Mm.
That's what last Thursday I was talking about this, and I think I didn't explain it really clearly. So that's what the Prophet said.
Mm-hmm.
So before that, from 0 to 4 months, there's no problem if you don't feel like you want to have this. But after 4 months, you're dealing with the soul that is there.
Mm-hmm.
That is the Islamic teaching. And the choice is in the lady. Not anybody should interfere with what the lady wants to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's more details, but this is the general. Yeah. Because after that, they say an angel comes, when the soul is in there, the angel comes and they write the future of this new born one. And then we do that here, but we don't pay attention to it. There was a long time when I came here, when you have a TV, then they have a little book on top of the TV. They call it TV Guide.
TV guide.
It has all the programs even before the program happened, the program is written there, what's going to happen. The angels, they also, they know the program. Allah tells them, this being is going to go left or right. They write all that program. Even though they have free will, they can change if they are sitting with a master that can break the ego tunnel that they are inside. They can break and change it. That's also written in the divine TV guide. And they wrote on that how much you're going to eat, how much you're going to drink, how much you're going to air, and the expiration date. Sometimes we go take some milk, and my wife, she looks at the expiration date. We can do it to the milk. You don't think they can do it on us? They do. But we don't know that expiration. Because of that, we can live a happy life. If you know you're going to die here and there, you will lose all your weight. Worrying. It's good for losing weight.
Worried.
Worry, yes.
Worried, yeah.
You're worried.
It's a great weight loss program.
Yes, a great one. Yes, this is there's a lot of details, and I don't want to share something.
Well, I was thinking, so last week and just now,
Yeah.
you were speaking about basically how the vision of Allah is all-knowing, knowing all that has happened and will happen.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And what occurred to me, that the difference between, we keep trying to put it into, we try to put that understanding into human terms,
Yes.
which is impossible.
Yes.
And it occurs to me that for the way you were speaking of Allah, and you were speaking in it was from a mystical dimension.
Yes.
But in that dimension, there's no time.
Is there gender?
No. We say Allah, but Allah created the genders. It is beyond gender. Also, He created creation. He's not the creation. He created time, but He is not in time.
He's not in time.
No, He's created time. There is a surah in the Quran, small surah. It started wal-asr, time. Inna al-insana lafi khusr. All human beings are on, like, going downhill. Illa, except illa alladina amanu. Except if you have faith. Because even though you don't see Allah, you still believe there must be something unseen. That's what we call faith. And then after that, وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, those who do good deeds and actions. There are four. If have faith, do good actions. And then وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ, and speak with each other about truth. And truth, if you simplify it in an equation like mathematics, you'll find an agreement between all the people. If you put it in the most simplest way, you can say that 2 plus 2 is 4. Period. Everybody agrees. Between that 2 plus 2 is 4, there is guardrails to not change that truth. Now, if people are greedy, then they say 2 plus 2 is 5, because they want one more for themselves. Or if they are stingy, they will say 2 plus 2 is 3. And that's outside the guardrails. And then they're not following that path. 2 plus 2 is 4 is the road or the freeway. There is guardrail, but it has a destination. The destination is Allah. But He wants you to, if you want to reach Allah, you have to be on that 2 plus 2 is 4. But continue with that truth. And don't get into another road where they permit, they say, yeah, 2 plus 2 is 4, but sometimes 2 plus 2 is 5. Because we need tax and we need this and that. And some they don't want to give anything. They say, well, 2 plus 2 is 3, because they're stingy inside of it. They can affect through their juggling the truth and making it to be different, and then sweeping the people or making them to follow a wrong way. But you have to stay between those. And there is a lot of rules and regulations on the guardrail.
Right. Yeah, Zachary.
I'm thinking about how kind of a key Buddhist teaching is like non-separation, or like, I guess I'm wondering, in the Sufi tradition, like, is Allah a separate being from all reality? Like, is there some essence that is Allah that is separate, like sitting outside of time and all that we experience? Or is it just the manifesting of all things and the continuous emergence of all things?
Allah, there is nothing like Allah. Whatever you think Allah is, it's not. It's beyond imagination. Also, we can say Allah is not here, but it is infinite. But you cannot say He's here because we can catch Him. That's why we say La ilaha illallah. La ilaha, there is no God. Illallah, but Allah. Both of them, they go together. Yin and yang, like that. And yet, we say you have to believe with faith. And that faith, you cannot have evidence that Allah exists or doesn't exist. It's only pure faith. There must be something. We deduct that from the singularity, how it started with the Big Bang, boom, everything started. What created that singularity to explode? And in the Quran it said everything is running away from each other. وَإِنَّا لَمُوسِعُونَ. We are expanding, expansion. Always there is expansion going on. It started from there. And then we say, well, nothing cannot start that, because nothing is nothing. It has to be something. That's something, yes? Help me.
Well, he's asking, I think, is Allah separate from the creation?
You can't say separate or separate. It's both.
It's both. That's his answer.
So that's non-separation, right? That's parallel to Buddha nature. Buddha nature is not a thing. You can't identify, you can't point to Buddha nature which pervades. This is where in our particular tradition, in one of the traditional teachings, it says all beings have Buddha nature. And what the founder of our Zen tradition in Japan, Dogen, he retranslated that expression to say all beings are Buddha nature. Because to say to have Buddha nature means to have something, some essence within you that is apart from, that's separate. But to say you are, it's like all of existence is the expression of Buddha nature. And I think that's akin to what you're saying about Allah.
Allah said in the Quran, I am closer to you than your own jugular vein. Like that.
Yeah.
So that means we all have jugular vein, means Allah is there. So according to who is that person, some they can feel that presence because they are in that level. And some they're covered with layers and layers from their eyes and what they covered with, and from whatever pleasures and this and that and that. So there are different levels. But if you come to a high level where that oneness, that person doesn't speak on their behalf, it's Allah speaking through their mouth. These are the elite of the chosen ones that are spread on this planet. And in the Sufi tradition, we say there are 124,000 elites who Allah's presence, you can feel it without them saying a word. As soon as you see them, you feel God's presence without saying a word, because they can't. So it's according to the levels.
So, in order to manifest as one of those 124,000, is there a path to that? Is there a path to become one of those?
Yes. You have
How do you do it?
you stay between the guardrails,
Uh-huh.
the rules and the regulation, and you have a target. You're targeting Allah, and they have love. You want to know, and they have a lot of love. And then, if you ask those eliminated ones to show you, then Allah send those people to you, and then you become connected. Because there's a lot of people that speak about Allah, but they are disconnected. They only speak about what they read in books, and they're not connected with a master. We say sheikh. So there are the munfasils, the ones that are not connected, and muttasil, the ones that are connected. The ones that are connected goes all the way. Like my sheikh, for example, I know who his sheikh and who the other one, He can go all the way up to the Prophet. And the Prophet with Angel Gabriel and then Allah. They're all got connected. If that connection is true and then firm and you have certainty, then you can be part of this. And each one of these 124,000 enlightened people, they take from a source of a prophet that is similar to them. If one has the love
From a
to
particular prophet.
if one has the love to heal people and love them, and he's a wanderer, he never stops. He goes from place to place, wherever he happens to be, he sleeps there. We take that one is a Isawi, means he takes from the source of Jesus. It's similar to him. Some others are similar to Abraham, which they are surrounded by Allah. When somebody speaks to Abraham, he's to look down. And the people, they say, he's humble and everything. But no, he knows that it's Allah speaking to him, to that. So he has that, like that. And each prophet has something particular. And these are the sources, and all the other 124,000 of them, they have a connection to one of those prophets, messengers.
I mean, actually, that's parallel in Buddhist traditions. There are countless bodhisattvas,
Yes.
and each one has a particular characteristic.
Yes.
You know, in some of the texts, each one has a name which expresses their particular skill.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
You know, I could sing you a song on that one. And we have, so for the guardrails,
Yeah.
we have what are called paramitas, perfections. These are bodhisattva practices, so they are generosity, morality, patience, effort, what am I forgetting? Meditation, wisdom, that's it. Six paramitas. And each one of those, wisdom is the one that pervades all of them. Wisdom is what makes it's kind of the catalyst for all of them to become not just plain virtues, but actually bodhisattva practices. And so we say these are the practices of the bodhisattvas, who are enlightened beings, awakened beings. It's what they do naturally. They don't have to think about these things as aspects that they have to cultivate. But for us, we have to take them on as particular practices. You know, we have to practice generosity. We have to practice morality or discipline, practice patience, etc. That's the way we aim. And you were using that word last time. That's the way we aim to become bodhisattvas. And then we're embodying these particular characteristics.
So similar.
It's similar, yeah.
I think somebody can ask a question. We can
Yeah.
play a song because people are getting tired.
Yeah, it's good. Other questions? Any questions? Actually, I haven't looked. Are there any questions out there in Zoom land? Does anyone want to ask anything? You can raise your digital hand or just speak up. Oh, there's one. Carol, welcome back, by the way.
Thank you. Well,
We can't hear you.
oh, you can't hear me? Can
Still
you hear me
muted.
now? Can you hear me?
No, you're still muted. You must have, on your vacation, you must have forgotten how to use Zoom.
I don't know. I'm
Not hearing. Oh, wait.
You might have
Yeah, I
to
think
mute
it's
her
this
as the
one.
host.
I can hear.
Okay, here we go. Try again.
All right. Thank you. I've just come back from Istanbul, and I love that country and learned more about your religion. And I went to a whirling dervish performance. I guess we call it a performance, and learn more about that practice and how it expresses, your love for Allah. Can you say something about it and how it's viewed in with you and
So the patron saint of this twirling dervish is Rumi, called Jalaluddin Rumi. That's his full name. He was with his student debating which one carries who. Does the soul carry the body or the body carries the soul? Which one? So to demonstrate for them that the soul is more important than the body, he stood up and has one hand facing up and one hand down to give turn. When he turned, started to lift. When he started to lift from the ground, he proved to them that the soul is carrying the body. Now everybody twirled, that nobody was able to.
Nobody seems to hear it.
Their ego is so heavy, it holds the. That's how it started.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Anyone else in here or out there? Well, I can sing you a song about Bodhisattva.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Go for it.
You've all heard this, so please excuse me. It's kind of our theme song. This is a chapter from one of the most important Buddhist texts, the Lotus Sutra, which is very old. It comes from India, and it's been turned into song here. And those of you who know it, please sing the chorus. There's a book called the Lotus Sutra that you really ought to know about. A holy book has the power to remove all fear and doubt. And this book tells the story of a man who means the world to me. He could just as well have been a woman, except for male hegemony. So they call him the Bodhisattva, never disparage, Bodhisattva, never despise. And I'm making it my life's ambition to see the world through his pure eyes. Because he says, I will never disparage you or keep you at arm's length, where you only see your weaknesses, I only see your strength. I would never despise you, put you down in any way, because it's clear to me, I can plainly see you'll be a Buddha someday. I love you. Now the Bodhisattva never disparaging the countless kalpas in the past, in the time of the counterfeit Dharma, and he was something of an outcast. Because the monks and nuns of his time, they were noted for their arrogance and vanity. And these were the folks who exercised great power and authority. But my boy, he never concerned himself if they treated him like a freak. He just battled everybody equally, and these are the words he'd speak. Here's the chorus. I would never disparage you or keep you at arm's length, where you only see your weaknesses, I only see your strength. I would never despise you or put you down in any way, because it's clear to me, I can plainly see you'll be a Buddha someday. I love you. He never read or recited the scriptures much, he only liked to practice respect. But the monks and nuns of his time, they didn't meet it like you might expect. Instead they cursed him, and they reviled him, and they wished that he would go. Because they all had self-esteem issues, like everybody else I know. So they beat him and pelted him with clubs and stones, tried to drive him away. But he just went off to a safe distance, and he'd turn around and say, I would never disparage you or keep you at arm's length, where you only see your weaknesses, I only see your strength. I would never despise you or put you down in any way, because it's clear to me, I can plainly see you'll be a Buddha someday. I love you. And so it went on for years and years. He was the target of scorn and abuse. Still our hero, he shed no tears. Did he ever wonder what's the use? Till he came to the end of his natural lifespan, he lay down fixing to die. And he heard the Holy Lotus Sutra being preached up in the sky. And his life was extended for millions of years. He's living to this day. And in the pages of the Lotus Sutra, you still can hear him say, I would never disparage you or keep you at arm's length, where you only see your weaknesses, I only see your strength. I would never despise you or put you down in any way, because it's clear to me someday. Yes, it's clear to me, I can plainly see you'll be the someday. I love you. I love you. So thank you and good night, and we'll be back next week, next Thursday, for the third class. So please bring questions. Think about what we've been talking about and what's unresolved, what you're interested in, what you want to know more about, and please bring them so we can talk together. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.